Hello and welcome to what is the first of what we will be calling our Kickback Extra episodes. Now, there's been a few of these, except I've just not really named them. Essentially, what we're going to do with these episodes, they're sort of like episodes between episodes, if that makes sense. So, like, for example, the one that I'm going to share with you guys today is actually an interview that I gave for Mr. Gordon Bircham on his show, the Martial Arts Business Podcast, which I urge you all to go and check out if you're in the martial arts industry, running a school. Great podcast, lots of really useful information, and from time to time Gordon does have people on, like myself, and we have a little bit of a chat about business. So today's episode is going to be a recording that I did with Gordon for his show, which he has very graciously shared with me to share with my listeners. We also have some exciting news with regards to a show sponsor, but what I'm actually going to do is play the opening music now with the show sponsor announcements within the music.
Welcome to Kickback with Chris. Kickback with Chris, the Martial Arts Podcast.
Brought to you by www.mittmaster.com.
So yes, our new sponsors are www.mittmaster.com. They've very, very kindly offered to help us with our ever-growing show costs. The details of the sponsorship, well, we're actually going to be announcing a little bit about how that's going to be working in the coming weeks, so you'll just have to keep checking back. But suffice to say, it's going to really help us out. Now, some people have asked, what sort of things do you need help with sponsorship? So, little things like petrol costs, getting out to interview people, that obviously involves costs to travel around. New equipment that we need, the software that we need, simple things like recording Skype audio calls, the software that we have to purchase and pay a yearly subscription fee for using that, buy new microphones, or a whole host of growing things that we need to keep this podcast improving and engaging with more people. So if you're interested in getting involved, we've actually had a couple of other companies show interest, but if you are interested, if you head over to kickbackpodcast.com and get in touch with us there via the contact option. Obviously, you can also get us on our various social media platforms. If you just search for Kickback with Chris, the Martial Arts Podcast, you should find us on everything, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, of course. So what we're going to do now is we're going to head straight over to my interview with Gordon. It was actually recorded on a really busy day where I had 3 recordings this day, and it was between, I had an interview with Andy Abernethy, and then I had straight up after that I had an interview with Rob from McDojo Live. So yeah, this was sort of sandwiched between 2 other interviews the same day. So yeah, really fun time. Have a listen, and I'll catch you on the other side.
Brought to you by www.mittmaster.com.
Hi, and welcome to the Martial Arts Business Podcast. My name's Gordon Bircham, and today I am joined by a very special guest. I do like doing interviews with different martial artists and business owners, and I thought it'd be kind of cool to interview another fellow podcaster.
Yeah, that's cool.
We've got the awesome Chris Jones. Hello, Chris. How are you doing? I'm
great, Gordon. How about you?
Me, I'm good. I'm getting over quite a severe illness that's knocked me for 6. And I've been full on at it since Christmas. And I think it hit me from the side, when I was feeling right at my best as well, which was a bit of a shame. But it happens sometimes. So I'm getting over. It's probably going to take me another week. I think I can feel that my body's not right yet, but that's what it's all about, isn't it? That's what happens.
That's it.
How about yourself? How are you doing? What's going on in your world?
I'm great, thank you very much. Yeah, keeping busy. It's that busy time of the year for many school owners. That influx of everybody that wanting to be positively influenced by martial arts, as well as those people who are looking to get fit for the new year. So it's always busy times. The podcast at the minute, as yours is growing and evolving, and really excited to continue with that and see where it goes. So
yeah, great.
Yeah, great times.
Yeah, good man. So I like to give a bit of backstory, because you've been around martial arts quite a long time. You've done a lot. Just give us so where did it all start for Chris Jones?
For me, late 80s. Depending on where I am in my memory, it's either 87 or 88. It's somewhere around there, I was of that sort of Karate Kid generation, I lived across the road from a martial arts. Well, it was actually a primary school.
Yeah.
But I would see these people in the white crossover gis and the belts going in every Wednesday. And I was like, what is that thing that they're doing? Anyway, so I didn't really think much of it. And then I saw the Karate Kid on TV and they were wearing the similar things. And I'm like, that's the thing that they're doing over there. I want some of that. I want to be balancing on boats and doing crane kicks and doing all that sort of thing. And then about a week or two later, as fate would have it, the school in question was doing a demo at a summer fair. And they were doing backflips and kicking boards and flying through the air and all this cool stuff. And that was me then. I wanted that. That's what I wanted in my life, sort of 7, 8 years of age. And badgered my parents like crazy. And initially, I just used to go in and sit at the back with my notepad and make notes. And then go home and like practice on the trees in the garden and stuff like that with my friends. About 4 weeks into it, bearing in mind that back then it was like 2-hour sessions on a Wednesday evening, and the instructor sort of cottoned on to what I was doing and he said, do you know what? Do you not think you should maybe come and do a class next week? And the rest is history. So,
epic. So I'll go back to the Karate Kid thing, which is kind of cooler. Did you want to be Karate Kid or do you want to be a member of the Cobra Kai?
Oh no, I was Karate Kid. I was a good kid growing up.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, obviously, now as an adult, then I would straight up want to be Cobra Kai because that's the cool side.
Obviously, yeah.
That's the side to be on. And depending on how you look at that story, it's you can look at it in two ways. We get the story, don't we, from Daniel's side with the film.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, he was the instigator in all of this. He was the one that turned up and tried to steal the guy's girlfriend and went and caused trouble on the beach. He was the one who put the water over the toilet. You know? So he was asking for it, really, wasn't he? He was the bad guy.
Bit of controversy. That's not like you, Chris Jones.
The real side of me now you're getting.
So you got into martial arts and I know you had a bit of a stunt career, didn't you? Or a stunt man.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that. Where's that taken you?
Well, the thing with that is, I guess it was connected to the reasons why I initially got into I say initially because obviously it's always changing and growing. But initially, when I got into the martial arts, it was through seeing obviously the film and then the displays that the demo team for the school were doing. So I was sort of captured by the sort of performance, physical aspects of the training, less so at that time with the sparring training and stuff. That's another story altogether. But I think because that's what initially sparked my interest, I sort of ran with that. It was sort of, I don't know, my late teens, sort of 19, maybe 20, when I really started having a go at pushing. Now, I didn't have a clue. And I mean, the internet was in its infancy. So I was sort of making videos of myself and then sort of blagging addresses of people and just sending them to everyone and their cat and dog, I think there was a point where there wasn't anybody involved in film or in martial arts that didn't have one of my videos.
Nice.
And I just pushed it like crazy. And sort of between 2000 and 2009, I had some really cool opportunities to go off and do lots of different things. I took a break at the end of 2009. I was actually on a job when my son was born. He decided he couldn't wait for the extra 2 weeks he was supposed to. I was actually in South London at the time and I got a phone call from my wife at 5:30 in the morning to say, I think you need to come back. I'm in South London. What am I going to do? So it was like a race against time to get back. Didn't quite make it. But that was at that point, something changed in my head and my priorities shifted.
Sure.
Didn't want to be somewhere in the middle of China. I wanted to be at home with a family.
Yeah. Nice.
So it's not stopped. It's just the direction changed a little bit, and I'm still doing bits here and there.
Sure.
I've actually got a couple of things coming up soon. So
yeah, awesome, man. Awesome, and I know you have a lot of things going on in the martial arts world now, which is awesome. And I know you've got your online training.
Yep.
You're kicking. Explain a little bit about that because I think this is like, especially over in the UK. I know we have a lot of podcast listeners across the world, but in the UK. It's starting to gather a bit of momentum now, the online world for us. We're a bit behind sometimes. Any of you American listeners, I totally get it. You guys have been on it for ages, but we're a bit more, if you like, reserved in the UK can be when it comes to this kind of thing. Because he's got his online presence as well and his courses and stuff. Tell us a little bit about that, because I think it's important that people know and can appreciate something like that.
Yeah, sure. So to be honest, it's something that people have been asking me to do for a long time. Obviously when YouTube first came around, there was a platform there ready for everybody. But as is the case with a lot of people, and this is actually something I picked up from yourself and obviously through working with Matt Chapman as well. But it was essentially just to get out of my own way, because people were asking me to do it. And the reason that I wasn't doing it is I was fearful of being judged. If I put this out, are people going to say my sidekick is crap? Sorry if I can say that. Are people going to say this? Are they going to say that? And do you know what? Those people have been around and they have said these things, but there have been far, 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 far more people who have got on board with it and have found some benefit from it and have got in touch with me to say how it's helped them. Yeah. So now I put all of my focus into those people. Yeah. The major turning point for me though was the early, I can't remember what it was. It was sometime last year. And I was actually at a charity event in Doncaster, and I was just doing some what I would consider sort of basic sort of kicking work. And then somebody asked me to do something that I'd not done for a very long time. And I thought, well, there's an opportunity here, because there was some kids there. And I said, look, I've not done this for years and I'm going to have a go. And it's quite likely not going to work. But the lesson from that is, always be willing to have a go and keep challenging ourselves and don't be afraid of failure. So I threw this kick, and lo and behold, I landed it. And I wasn't ready to land it. There was some big, aerial over the top thingy. And as I landed, I just felt this horrific pain shoot up through my leg. And, as you do, you're on a workshop, you're in black belt mode, didn't say a thing, just carried on. And it turned out that I'd severely, I don't know the technical terms for it all, but it was some sort of nerve damage through my leg. And the physio that I spoke to said, you were within sort of a very small amount of permanently wrecking your leg. Oh, right. And it was at that point where I decided that, I need to have a video record of this stuff that I'm doing, because I could fall out of my chair tomorrow and it's gone forever. And I'll have never recorded anything out of fear of being judged by others. And how ridiculous is that? So I thought, right, I'm going to set to it. And, I've just recorded all the different things that I could think of. So now that record is there. Yeah, so now all I need to do is stay sat down. No, I'm joking. But no, it's good. It's recorded. It's there forever now. So. Yeah,
which is a great asset and something that, I think many martial artists need to do. I teach a lot of courses and in the business world. And I try and teach people now, you need to create assets for yourself, something that we have all these wonderful skills. And I think we need to be recording every element of what we've learned and get it online so people can either view it for their pleasure or learn it and want to evolve, etc. But I think it's got such a great asset, like online training. All martial artists should have their products and services online for people to consume. Because the information world is so huge now. It's massive. It's going to continue to grow because so many people in this world want to learn now. Have you noticed how many people are like, they've got this hunger, haven't they? Yeah. It's because I was saying that, of course, with my dad, I said, we've got kind of like this kind of free spirit world coming. There's this like kind of new age, if you like. Yeah. People want to learn. They want to evolve. They don't want to stay where they are now. They kind of know there's more to life. Yeah. And I think it's a great opportunity now for martial arts schools, just like yourself, to go out and just film their stuff and get it out there and not fear judgment from others. Yeah. I used to be the same, Chris. I totally get where you're coming from. Fear of being judged, fear of what other people say. The reality is it's got nothing to do with you. Mm-hmm. Like what someone thinks about you is none of your business. Absolutely right. I think you're probably learning that more and more now. Yeah. So well done to you for getting that out there. And I mean, is the kicking? Who's it available to? Like who's it available to?
Well, I mean, primarily when I first launched it, the idea was that I wanted to, I actually started a Facebook group just before I did the videos. And originally it was sort of targeted at people sort of around a sort of similar age, sort of like late 30s, early 40s, who've maybe been struggling with sort of hip or knee issues. And what I wanted to do is provide a means of, here's the way that I've changed through my experiences and my challenges with various injuries and things. And this is how I've changed to be able to carry on doing what I've always done. And just to say, look, there are options available. I was, I had a knee injury and I was given the doom and gloom from the specialist who said I wouldn't be able to run and jump and kick or anything anymore. And that was the best part 10 years ago now, and I'm still going. They also said that the op I had would last me about 5 years. That's 10 years as well. So I was sort of redeveloped my training, as you said, through learning. Getting out there on the internet now, because you say we've all got these little things we'll carry around, little pocket knowledge sources. It's like the world's knowledge all in there.
Right.
And so I did my research into what I could do to look after myself, and sort of developed a training program. It's actually, funnily enough, based around basketball training in the States through the rehab that they have for the same op. Because I saw a lot of similarities in the way they were moving. And I thought, well, I can share that with people. And then what's happened is it's over time, it's developed and actually become sort of more of a start point, sort of a resource for people to work on the basic elements of the kick-in and then how to sort of take it from there. Because there are a lot of tutorials out there that are actually not really tutorials. It's just like, this is a thing that I do, now go and do it. And they don't really sort of explain what it is that they're doing. So I try to sort of break the elements down. I like detail and to break it all apart. It seems to be going well. So
well done, mate. Well done. So you've been involved in, how long are you at the martial arts school for now?
I've been teaching full time for 20 years this year, and I've had my own school for 16 years.
Well done, mate. Awesome. And you've said a lot in your time. I mean, I know you've been around, and sometimes you can be controversial, which is what I love. And you got your own opinion, which is absolutely awesome. You don't follow the crowd, which is a little bit like me, a bit of a maverick. But I know you've been around the martial arts a long time, and I know you have your opinions. Where do you see the UK martial arts industry, and in fact the worldwide martial arts industry, as of 2019? Where do you think it is here now, and where do you think it's going to go?
Wow, that's a tricky one. I kind of feel it's a little bit of a turning point at the moment, because the internet it's a brilliant thing. Don't get me wrong. One of the things that it is providing is a little bit more transparency within the arts.
Yeah.
Gone are the days, I feel anyway, gone are the days where you can open up a school, claim to be a 10th level ninja, training up a mountain in Japan, and whereas in reality, you've never stepped foot out of your parents' basement in Rotherham. I think then the internet's sort of allowing that level of transparency, so people now can go out and look into things a little bit more. So people are having to invest more time in their own personal training, and be able to back things up, and which is a good thing. On the other side, sometimes it can be, a bit of it. We can sort of we can create, and I've been guilty of this. I'll be honest. In the past, I've put things and thought, no, I shouldn't have said that, because although my motives were good, it just creates another level of negativity for the industry as a whole. Whereas we should really be putting out masses of positivity, because there's so much stuff out there now. I've got kids that train with me that do all the obvious things like football and rugby, but they've got like the table tennis and water polo and abseiling and all these things that were never even there when we were kids. So we need to be sort of like that positive beacon of awesomeness. So where it's going, a positive place, I hope. There seems to be a lot more positivity within the UK now. I was just this morning chatting to one of your friends and clients, Andy Abernethy, on my podcast, and the transformation that he's had in himself and in his school this last 12 months to 2 years, it's just been fantastic. And hopefully we're going to see more of that now. That's personally what I would hope for. And a sort of a positive growth all around, because there's something out there for everybody. Really,
I think so, yeah. And what you've been like the industry itself. I mean, there's been lots of, I think, over the last few years, there's been some great, great pulling together of different arts, which I think is amazing, isn't it? I mean, you see now, I was running a course the other day, and there's people from Taekwondo to Thai boxing to karate to the old school, new school. Doesn't really matter. They're really starting to come together, which I think is so, so positive and such a great thing. Where do you see as like martial arts in 10 years?
Wow.
What does it look like as an industry teaching, business-wise?
I would hope it continues on this upward trend of an added level of customer service and professionalism. I think a lot of people are scared by those two terms. Yep. I think a lot of people often in this country anyway. Your American listeners will be well used to this by now, but over here, I think there's often this thing of if you use customer service or professionalism, you're in some way selling out. You're losing the essence. You know what I mean, though, don't you? You're losing the essence of your art. But it couldn't be further from the truth. No. You can have a good front end to your school, back end to your school, all that stuff, and still teach quality. And I hope that upward trend continues to the point where it actually becomes normal. So within the next 10 years, we see schools embracing all those really key elements that all the other industries are already doing. Like my daughter's gymnastics school, you go in there, it's like a well-oiled machine of perfection. Yeah. And it costs an absolute arm and a leg, and no one bats an eyelid at it. Whereas over here, we're still like, and it's not judging. Everyone's free to charge what they want to charge, but I think sometimes people still charge what they charge because they're fearful of moving on. They are
retribution.
I paid like £3.50 for my classes in 1987. There's still people doing that now, which is their choice, absolutely, and I respect that. But as long as that choice is born out of a real reason why they're doing that, not because they're afraid to increase it. Yep. Because of what somebody might say. Because, you're not teaching martial arts now because you're charging for it.
It's a delusion, isn't it?
Even Mr. Miyagi had people painting his fences and washing his cars.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think in the UK industry, for instance, we're so far beyond when it comes down to charge. You go to America, like minimum is $150 a month for 2 classes a week.
It's life-changing stuff at the end of the day.
Yeah, and it changes your life because they get the value. In the UK, I would love to see us, really move up 10 notches where, instructors, we're one of the only industries in the UK around where the best people earn the least. I mean, how that? Like, that is a delusion, isn't it? Like, the best people, you look at the best martial artists in the UK, there are some real world-class martial artists in the UK. Yeah. Most of them earn the least amount of money from their arts. Yeah, and through fear, you're right, through fear, like, well, I just do it for the love of it. Yeah, so do the martial artists who earn money from it. They still do it for the love of it and earn money as well. And I think that's where you've got to get the balance has got to be there for our industry. And I think martial artists, the old school, like for instance, the real good martial artists have to step up because they are the forefront of actual martial arts. And if they don't step up, they're going to get left behind, which would be a real shame for the arts. Yeah. The purists, if you like.
Yeah, that's it for me. I mean, I posted about this just recently. Again, when you were mentioning a more controversial post, I try to do less of those these days, but sometimes
you shouldn't. You should be you.
I just have to say it because, for me, I was talking to Matt about this not so long ago. It's not what you're charging that matters. If your classes are £350 a class, let's say, if you feel that the content is worth that value, if you feel you're giving that value to that student, then that is what you've priced it at. It's when the ethics of it, for me, start getting a little bit wobbly, when people start doing shady little things within their school. And again, you can sometimes see this, like some people will charge a small amount, like they say, it's like £4 a class. But then you've got this extra £150 charge that we didn't tell you about when you first started, that we're going to keep getting you for and that's when it starts for me a little bit like, don't do that. Kids getting belts every 2 weeks and parents getting a £50 bill for it. It's like, what? It's just for me. there's a balance that we need to find, and I think sometimes people just push that a little bit too far, and that's for me when it sometimes starts getting a little bit like. Yeah.
Well, I think you get in all industry. You get sharks, conmen, you get good guys, bad guys. It's the same in any industry, and I think what's happened within our industry, many people are fearful to go and make money, like you said, and have a successful school for fear of retribution, people judging them, etc. But it's only judgment on the sharks. You can only be a bad martial arts school if you teach bad martial arts, or you teach bad martial arts, if you like, and you charge a fortune, and you basically con them, and you're a like high-level salesperson just ripping people off. That's different. Yeah. I fundamentally think the majority of martial arts school owners love martial arts, and they actually want to provide a great service.
Absolutely right.
And there's nothing wrong with that, and then charging accordingly to get what you're worth in your school, what value you give in relation to what you get. And I think that is important. And I do believe you need to charge enough, not only to survive, but to thrive.
Absolutely.
You can keep reinvesting. You can support your family. You can support your own hunger, desires, wants, needs in life. And I think that's, really, really important.
Absolutely. So true. I mean, I was charging too little for what I was given about 2 years ago. And it was after doing one of your courses. I know we're only talking a small increase of sort of £5 and £10. But we've grown exponentially since then. Since increasing the prices, we've actually grown. And the really interesting thing is the school is a much happier place as well, because we're attracting a very, very different type of people now.
Yeah.
It was just, everyone, the listeners will have been there before. There was constant things. There was constantly moans about things going on. Now, don't get me wrong, they're not gone completely, but we've found that the place is a much more positive place now that we've just revised our pricing a little bit, just to, we just moved things up a little, just only a small amount, but it's made a huge difference. Membership numbers are higher, retention's higher, I'm happier, which in turn is helping with all those other elements as well. And it's meaning that I've been able to start a podcast because I can invest that time into that.
Yep.
I didn't have before because I was running around like a lunatic doing everything.
Yeah.
We're about to take on another staff member next month. That would have been absolutely no way an option 2 years ago. So, charging sensibly is good. Don't be getting. It's all very well. You've got your student pulling up outside in his Ferrari, and then you're struggling to buy yourself a can of beans. Totally back to front, isn't it? It's you got to charge what you're worth, like you say, in order to be able to continue to do what you love to do. It's absolutely.
So what's next for Chris Jones then?
Oh, I don't even know me day to day what I'm going to be doing. No. The plan is, as I say, it's 20 years this year since I started teaching full time. And I'd not really it not entered into my head until this year when it landed. And I thought, I've been doing this as a job for more than half my life.
Yeah, wow.
Half my life. I'm 40 next year, and I just thought, wow, that's a long time. Yeah. And this isn't in any way a negative thing I'm saying here at all. Now, right now, I am enjoying the journey and I'm loving it still. But I didn't want it to get to the point where in sort of 5 to 10 years' time, I'm not. And so what I'm doing is I'm putting things in place now. Just in case, it's like a plan B. I don't want to be in 5 years' time still teaching and not wanting to do it, because that's the worst possible thing for me and for the students and for the school. So I've started the podcasting, I've started the online training, I'm getting back into the film work again. I'm trying to find these things that I enjoy within it, the martial arts. I'm getting back into my own training again. I've become a white belt again in a couple of different systems, which has been brilliant. And I'm just going to keep pushing the school forwards. And, I remember when we're actually 5 years into a 10-year lease in the building we're in now. And I remember when we opened it thinking, wow, my son will be, nearly at the end of school when we move out of here, feel like a teenager. And he just started school at that time, and say we're already 5 years into it.
Wow.
So, I'm hoping that he's maybe going to be in a position to follow my path and, maybe go into taking over the school. So who knows? He's loving it right now, but he might find another path, which is absolutely fine. But I'd love to have the school in a position where I can say to him, okay, take the reins, and enjoy watching him taking it on to the next level.
Yeah, sounds good. Exciting. Well, it's always a pleasure to speak to you, Chris. Keep being controversial.
I'm not that bad.
In a good way. It's in a good way because you ask and probe and you see things in a different way, and you challenge people. Martial arts is a funny world, isn't it?
Isn't it just?
I always find martial arts is proper yin and yang, isn't it?
Yes.
Up and down, we love it, and sometimes we despise the elements of it. And there's good, there's bad, there's ugly, it's all in there, isn't it? If you look at martial arts, but you know what? Fundamentally, martial artists are really cool people, and I want to thank you for being on the podcast. Great to speak to you. Great to hear your insights. If anyone wants to listen to Chris's podcast, it is called
Kickback with Chris, the Martial Arts Podcast, and you can find us on everything on the internet. So so you got Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. We've got two website addresses. So we've got kickbackpodcast.com or we've got martialartspodcast.co.uk. So either of those, you can get us, get in touch, send me emails.
How cool is that? And also, your kicking online is called
onlinekicking.co.uk. Nice and easy to remember. I couldn't believe that nobody had got that yet when I got it.
How cool is that?
onlinekicking.co.uk. There are actually 3 different levels to it. So there's a sort of a complete course, and then there's one based on strength and control, and then one based on pad drills. So pad drills that I use in my courses and classes and things like that. So
awesome. Great to talk to you, Chris. As always, a pleasure. We will catch up again soon, no doubt. Everyone listening, go and have a look at his podcast, go and have a listen, go and search for his online kicking.co.uk courses, and I'll speak to you on the next episode of the Martial Arts Business Podcast. Take care.
Enjoy our podcast? Please remember to subscribe, rate, and review Kickback with Chris on iTunes today.
So thanks again to Gordon for having me on his podcast there. It was good fun chat, and I always like working with Gordon. Such an energetic guy with such a massive amount of passion and enthusiasm for the martial arts industry, not only the business side but also teaching and training himself. If you're interested in checking out Gordon's podcast, what I will do is I will leave the details to it in the show notes. I do urge you go check it out and subscribe there. We will be back with another lineup of exciting episodes coming in the coming weeks. I want to share more details with you, but until I've got everything ironed out, I've got 2 or 3 coming up that I'm really, really excited about. But in the meantime, as always, if you are listening to this and you're interested in getting involved with the show, please do get in touch. If you have anything that you would like me to help you promote, anything positive going on, whether it's competitions, seminars, workshop, as always, head over to our podcast event promotion group on Facebook. A quick one on that, please don't actually post in the Kickback Podcast Facebook group or on the like page, because I don't want those 2 pages to sort of turn into like a martial arts jumble sale group. I want to keep it obviously exclusively for our notices, so that when we're putting information and episodes out, people aren't having to search through adverts for people selling gum shields and everything else. So if you have something that you want to promote, by all means do post it in the podcast event promotion group, and I will obviously, if it's suitable, I will include it within the show. Alternatively, as always, get in touch with us at the various website links, social media things, and all of that. I'm going to leave it there for today, guys. This is the first in our new Kickback Extra episodes. Just keep an eye out for them. They're going to pop up from time to time. Have a great day, weekend, evening, whatever it is for you where you are, and I will speak to you all very soon.